button. Mr. Chris Brogan is coming in, and now have to very deftly hit the live on Facebook button as well. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic, Chris Brogan. The end. Let me share that on my timeline, and still trying to get slightly better at doing this as everybody filters in. Steve Garfield.
Yes, it is.
You were right, buddy.
I like that little tip Chris gave you, how to be a voice off screen. That's a good tip.
I knew as you were watching that, Steve, you were like, oh, I'm learning something too.
Oh, I love that.
I would like, as I see Chip Kidd right there, I would like Chip Kidd to share that photo because I don't know, by the way, you know, Chip Griffin, sorry, Chip Kidd. That's so funny. I did that too.
Can nobody get my name right today?
No. Chip Kidd is a really famous, important artist. And so I was laughing because that's totally exactly what I said when I was saying you. Chip Griffin, show me how you, what this great photo is.
All right, hold on a second here.
You should be able to share the screen.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's like a project. You have to do that.
Oh no, trust me. I got you here. Hold on a second.
Oh, listen. If you've been on this Zoom after show, you would have seen what Chip can do. It's pretty crazy. Should I make him spot? Well, I'll make you spotlight.
I'm pretty much Zoom tarded, so. Oh yeah. Yep. Is that about circa 2009, possibly?
Let's see. It is 2008.
January. Yeah, nope. Sorry, that would make more sense.
Yep.
I wore that shirt a few too many times and was made fun of by a lot of people. And then I went to an event in Atlanta, Georgia. Several video recordings of me in that shirt in Atlanta, Georgia. Flew to Paris, France. Several photos and videos of me in that shirt in Paris, France. And the nice people at Delta, with no extra charge, lost my luggage. And if you are a person above a certain weight, you must be at least this fat to be in Paris. They had no clothing that fit me. So I wore that for another 2 more days. And so by that time, I had to burn the shirt, but I didn't. And I auctioned it off a few years later for a charity for $500.
Nice.
So
that's $500 I ever spent.
But a story. Yeah.
Please tell me that's true.
Nope, not even a little bit.
I didn't think it was, but I would have.
That wouldn't be creepy at all.
I would resell it on eBay for more money and call it like Chris Brogan DNA or something.
Oh.
I did at my best friend's bachelor party in Durban, South Africa. We walked into a bar at that point it was probably 4 a.m. It said Monkey Bar and it said Durban, and I was living in the US already, and I just went up to the bartender and I said, "Give me the shirt off your back." And he was like, "Fuck you," basically. And I said, "Here's 1,000 rand." He said, "Coming right up." And he just took the shirt off. And I still have the shirt. I had to wash it about 20 times, but I still have the shirt that says Monkey Bar, Durban, South Africa. By the way, 1,000 rand equals about $12. So
it's a bargain.
I see, but don't hear Bob.
I've got
a Vermont shirt.
It's my 802 coffee. And cheers, by the way. They make it with coffee ice cubes, which is my favorite.
Oh.
So when it melts, right, instead of watering down your coffee with regular ice, you can have coffee melting into your coffee. Simply brilliant.
Is a brilliant trick.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Now, can you make cubes out of brandy?
Can't freeze brandy, but you can try. Just put it in the freezer and then let it get, to that point, and then just drink it. Because
they have stones for that, don't they? Have stones so that
I don't know any of these things.
You make the stones really cold, and then you put them in your drink, and then they just don't melt. So it doesn't.
When my stones are cold, I get even less.
But you
how much does that cost? It's more than $500.
Chill brandy anyway. Brandy should be served warm.
Oh, that's a good point. Vodka,
that's a whole different story.
That is a totally different story.
Or whiskey. I think they call them whiskey stones.
Just sounds
They
funny.
do.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've been
That's how
doing.
the show goes, Joseph.
Not
Listen-
every day.
No,
You
I mean,
want to talk
listen,
about Bob Stones? I'm here for this.
we, as you know, as I often say to our regulars here, when in the good old days when we used to get Zoom bombed, we used to have a gentleman by the name of Ben Dover who would come and pop in from time to time. So we've slightly graduated to more more family friendly topics, even though I
Have
just
we
swore.
though?
Yeah, have we? I don't know.
Well, compared to
no,
what we experienced with him the first time, I would say that yes, we have graduated.
But I think, to answer your question, we've we have different after shows. Sometimes it's just a bunch of old friends or young friends just hanging out like we're doing right now. And sometimes a guest will continue a thought or talk about something planned, especially if I don't know them that well. And sometimes it gets really deep and meaningful. And we've had some moments like this moment with Henk Kampfer, which I included that clip in my keynote today, where I turned around and I said, 2020 sucks. And Jan, who's a regular on the after show, turned around and called me out straight away and said, no, it doesn't. And spoke about how unbelievable the year has been for with respect to awakening this consciousness, this collective consciousness of the world. And then I kind of came back and I said, well, maybe we're both right in the sense that it kind of sucks for individuals. It sucks if you've lost a loved one. But at the same time, these changes have been great. And then Henk, who's the CMO of Hootsuite, actually said, you're both right. And it has kind of sucked a little bit for individuals, but this has been wonderful for humanity. And it was just a quote. There was so much passion and so much, it was a great conversation. And, to be called out by Jan, who's clearly unbelievably ungrateful for all the free content I've given him, to call me out like this. Jan, you want to speak up for yourself?
No.
What do you have to say for yourself? It was a beautiful exchange.
I agree. It was. And what you said earlier today, what both of you guys were talking about earlier was also really helpful for me, which was, yeah, it's understandable maybe to have fun and be snarky once in a while, especially if it's recreational, but to be angry, if there was ever a time when I've had the perspective of when I really deserve to be angry, vis-a-vis BLM, I have no right to be angry right now toward anyone, but maybe myself for not understanding someone else's anger. So BLM has really put into perspective the idea of an anger that's justified and healthy.
And anger is definitely one emotion that I think we can do without. And it's hard, and I know I'm repeating myself, but in listening to that Trevor Noah interview with Howard Stern, he talks about how Jon Stewart when he gave him advice, he said the one piece of advice, and the main piece of advice, is you have to let go of anger, because it's the only way. Otherwise it will consume you, and it is a negative emotion. It is toxic, and it will destroy you. And that was in response to the question, which is, how do you report on this stuff and talk about this stuff without getting angry in terms of what's going on in the world? And so you have to detach yourself in this regard, just to not allow anger to consume you, because it will.
Meanwhile, Howard Stern makes a whole episode out of being pissed off that Robin ordered an $800 bottle of wine or something. So
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I think he was just pissed off that she didn't share it, maybe, with him.
Or didn't finish it.
She ordered it for the table. It was like, this is what we want. I'll select the wine for the table. And he complained the whole next episode. And that's like 4 hours of complaining.
I always wonder with Howard, which is, and I've listened to a whole bunch of interviews, how much of it is real versus not. And based on everything I've heard, it's all very real. It is just the way it is.
I mean, for like 2 hours, you could maybe put it on, but 4? It's a long time to pretend mad.
Well, I was thinking when you were talking about that, about anger, I was just thinking about, I think it was John Lydon who said anger is an energy. And I think that he really had that, ahead of time. He said that in the late 80s. Anger is an energy. And I think that it's true. If you have to just think, may the road rise from here. That's all you have to think, because otherwise you're stuck.
It's a great quote.
Public Image Limited. Rise. That was the band after the Sex Pistols. Johnny Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten, was the one who gave us that quote. Anger is an energy. Welcome to Chris Brogan's Voice of God moment, where I explain to you that I like to stuff song lyrics into my conversations and make them sound like they're philosophical statements.
Or you could have just taken credit for it and said, as I once said.
No, I take credit for a lot of the things Anonymous says, because he's not going to fight me.
Good one.
So that's what I did. That was one of my tricks with my quotes is, and I forget who it was on the show. It might have been Saul Colt, where I said, who said this? He's like, I have no idea. I said, well, Anonymous said it, so you can say from this moment on, Saul Colt said it.
I like it.
Okay, on a different note, how can a quote be anonymous? Surely someone must know someone who said it. I sound like Howard Stern now. It's like the Torah.
Here we go. Start the clock, you guys.
4 hours, yeah.
I love it though when he does quote his Jewish background and heritage, when he and then he just Moshiach, and he's got all these words. But anyway,
and that's it, and that's the whole sum of his moment.
He's like, nice. What does he think he is? Does he think he's the Moshiach? But seriously, like I think maybe we should. Could there be an app to debunk or uncover every single origin of that hack Anonymous? We took credit for so many quotes.
You never get to the actual one candidate for it. There's always, I feel like, 2 or 3 that sound plausible. And because you can't know which one it was, they all end up in Wikipedia together. Best guess.
Could be like a reality show where we start off with 12 candidates for every anonymous quote. And in the end, one person gets attributed that quote. I feel like I'm drunk right now.
Just edit Wikipedia and make them all Chris Brogan. Or Howard Stern. Either one is equally plausible.
Or Saul Colt. Speaking of reality shows, I just caught a little bit of Tom Green, another Canadian. Tom Green doing a small bit at a stand-up show, and he was talking about how he was on The Celebrity Apprentice. But the way he did the entire story of this whole thing, he kept saying, and so I was there talking to the President of the United States of America, who was mad at me because we didn't do this cupcake challenge the right way. And what I said to the President of the United States of America, who knows me personally and doesn't like me, and he just every bit of the story. And then at some point he talked about Olympic figure skater Scott Hamilton, who was another one of the competitors in the storyline. Hi, Jake, briefly. Scott Hamilton, one of the competitors in the show as well, didn't like him as well. And so on. And he lost out ultimately because he had to try to sell wedding dresses. And his competitors, hey, Jake, his competitors were Joan Rivers and Khloe Kardashian. So that was the brunt of the storyline. But God bless Tom Green. Speaking of people we didn't know were still around.
Was that an old comedy set or was it recent?
A year and a half ago. So
I remember when he started doing live streaming from his house, and that was a big deal.
Yes. He's still doing that, by the way.
Is he?
He is, and he gets some incredible guests on there.
Wow.
And I have to tell you that he's become quite a podcaster and video guy because he has a video setup. However, and Steve Garfield from stevegarfield.com would ding him on this. he really doesn't play to his audience especially much. And half of the show, I don't know why he has this, but he has a cam of him like 15 feet away as well. Like one of the cams he switches to is like way down the hallway, and there he is down at the end, sitting at his desk, like working. And it's like, what kind of shot is that? And what are we supposed to get from that? And storytelling wise, why is he like showing us his back for long swaths of time? Oh, Chip.
Gary.
Yeah.
Joseph
that was-
said this at the beginning.
She just
does
built
it.
the page.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I know, Chip, and now we come to the part of the after show where Chip shows off.
Look what I can do.
I love it. I love the blue lighting because I would have said, if you told me I'm going to put blue lighting in my background, I'd be like, it's going to look like a meth lab, but it doesn't. I was wrong.
Thank you for saying that.
I've also learned that I need a couple more, like, what do you call those backlights or whatever? I need lights behind me, like Steve Garfield from stevegarfield.com told me. Those lights behind me that just kind of, light it up just a little bit behind, because I've seen a lot of that in action today.
See Steve flexing? You guys, he's so low
Oops.
key, you might not have noticed. He's like switching cameras down there, and if you don't have his video pinned, you might not have seen it.
I
Hold
gave all
on,
my
we can-
stupid kids my extra video cameras. This is all you get.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Steve.
You
Steve.
see, in the exact moment that I put you on spotlight.
Your MAGA hat just blocked that lens for me.
There we go.
That's an interesting frame job you got going there, Steve.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and figure out multiple camera angles at some point. Maybe after I get myself a real microphone. There's still a lot of things that I have to do.
And a
So
water
many
bottle.
things.
See,
And a
'cause
water.
Aiden has one. I have one. All the cool kids are doing it. They got things to drink out of. Chip, right there.
I saw you had the hydro flask on. I love it. I think we need to normalize the use of hydro flasks because they're great.
I'm with you. I don't have the sippy cup lid like you do, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think it makes it 10 times better. I'm not ashamed of it.
You just get there right in. I mean, I know I'm, in the middle of the thing with Joseph, all you hear is like, as I'm getting it open. So I'm with you.
Well, that's when you get the voice of God that comes in and says, "You've been a bad boy, Chris Brogan."
There's a mute function too that you can always use if you're doing that. I mean, just a thought.
What? You mean to mute other people or like to
Well,
mute yourself? Because
well-
not enough people know about the muting yourself.
Yes, clearly.
That's the perfect host, right?
On my mic right here, I have a little green live and die, but except that I forget to turn it off about 80% of the time.
So you all know the trick of using the space bar to unmute yourself, right? You just hold it down to talk, and it's like a push to talk mic.
Yeah, but it's so much work.
Break one
No.
night. Breaker.
But you also have to have Zoom as your primary window too. And I have a
Right.
habit of clicking off on other things. Then you hit the space bar and you're like, why isn't it unmute?
Yeah,
Oh,
not-
because it's not my selected window.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because evidently, if you put the space bar down and you're in Firefox, like I seem to be, nothing happens except it goes
Nothing happens.
newt, newt, newt.
Oh, so Chris, I have a quick update for you from StreamYard, which is today, or by the end of today, they will now have mobile hosting. So you'll be able to run your entire show from the toilet on your phone.
Does it have to be on the toilet?
It has to be.
Couldn't be
it
like
has to
next
be.
to the pool or something?
No, I could do it from the pool. I could try,
Yeah.
or maybe from Maine.
I'd prefer it. Or Vermont.
Come to Vermont.
Or Vermont.
They have hills.
What's wrong with New Hampshire? Geez.
Or New Hampshire.
It's upside down.
Wait,
What?
is
If you look
Is
at it on
every-
a map.
Is
Vermont, New
everybody on this
Hampshire, the
call
opposite.
only like? Is everyone just New England here?
There's a massive amount of New England, and then
Well, no,
Canada.
Carrie's
Canada.
I'm in Nashville, but I'm from Cape Cod, so I
Good enough for
don't think
me.
New Hampshire was upside down, but I don't.
Well, look at it on a map. It
I
is.
know what you're saying. I just don't
just
agree
wrong.
with you. You
But
don't
you're-
shame me. Don't state shape shame me.
Plus,
Look,
Bob, in
if you-
Vermont, everything is upside down. So
It's a lot slower. That's for
you
sure.
just said
Ooh, nasty.
state, shape, shame.
I
That was
did.
great. That was
Thank you.
terrific. Now I
Elocution
want
is
you
one
to,
of my strong suits.
okay, now say it 3 times fast. Go.
No.
No.
Good call.
Yeah, exactly. I was so close.
That was not going to end anywhere good.
No. But the word S and H would have been involved in it some way.
Probably.
I might have got muted by you. I think the only thing missing from this particular episode of the Zoom after show, thank you for the encouragement, Mr. Steve Garfield from stevegarfield.com. I like that little play, Chris, is cocktails, which I'm not proposing right now because it's 3:15. But what do you think, Chris, about getting, I mean, we spoke about a crayon reunion. Shouldn't we do like a, I don't know, podcasting crew, like Mitch, like all the podcasters together again? Could we call it like PodCamp or something? Or it's my idea, by the way. It's an original idea.
That's your idea. It's all yours. PodCamp Zoom would be quite a visual. Julian Smith.
Yeah, right.
Get some rocket boomers, the ones who aren't otherwise occupied. Steve just made a stock trade.
He just bought the URL.
Hold on, how did you see that? Could we have the Steve Garfield monitor cam? But maybe, if you guys are interested, should we? That would be fun.
It would be fun.
We don't.
I listened to Mitch's podcast every week for a long time, and was always excited when you guys all came on and did your
media hacks.
Together. Media hacks.
Oh, media hacks is a cut above. I just hit the hack part. I never quite hit the media hack part.
I know the feeling. Bob, how many, you do your own stuff and you do your own shows and stuff. How many shows do you sneak into and hang out for a while in a day?
Well, this is the second one today. I always do Joseph's show just because I always find a nugget somewhere in the show where I'm like, totally worth it for being here just for that. But
except today, right?
Well, yeah, but it rarely happens.
Tom Green.
Just kidding. Yeah, right.
Tom Green.
But you and Jay today, come on, how could I miss that one? Because you're bound to find nuggets in a show like that.
Jay Bear, I don't know why I put guys like Jay on my show, because all they remind me of is how like I'm such not a grown up. That's all I learn when I watch it. But he's such a wizard. Having Roberto on the other day, Roberto Blake, was the same way. I was like, that's what you people do when you do your videos. Got it. Chloe Forbes Kinlan after the fact says to me, can I have less subscribers than you. I don't even know if I should tell you this. Can I show you something about YouTube? And I was like, yeah, sure. She immediately says that, all the stuff, like when you're on a YouTube channel and all the stuff drops down over the YouTube tile, it's all in the upper right-hand corner. She goes, you're making all of your text upper right justified. You could make it kind of left and it would be better for you. I was like, oh. Like every day.
There's the nugget right there.
Chris Brogan every day. Oh. So yeah, that's that's why I have good guests on, because I don't know anything. Like I figured out how to put on pants one day. That's all I got. And even then.
And we're grateful for that, Chris.
I know. Well, you can only pay so many tickets. I had no idea that it escalated.
I'm trying to figure out today how to have a YouTube video in line on Twitter where it plays on Twitter, because my impression was Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show, they have a video on their Twitter and it plays and it says, click here to see it on YouTube. And I'm like, how did they get that YouTube video to play on Twitter? And I'm asking and I'm getting feedback. And what I'm finding is it's a native Twitter video.
Yep.
And then they put an ad unit on top that says, click here to play on YouTube.
Smart.
And I don't know anything about YouTube ads. I'm learning today, but that's crazy.
That was the other phone call Garfield had.
That's
Gotta give me some ads over there, Marty.
No, that was Mom. She needs a new grabber.
Oh, because she can't open it.
Right. Soon to be on Joseph Jaffe's Corona TV.
Say it. Millie's coming on.
You're having Millie Garfield on your show?
I am. It's a world exclusive.
I will sit right beside Bob Farnham for that.
I'm serious. I'm there.
So I am, Chris, I am certain that, yes, there are many techniques where we can, for example, if you got Media Hacks together, if we did a podcasting reunion, we would probably break 100 views because Chris and I were saying we're teetering on 50, but Millie Garfield, that's just going to break the view counter. It's going to clock it. It's going to go back to 0.
My mother heard a story from one of her viewers that she was in the kitchen, this lady who watches my mother, and she was trying to open something, and she's like, I can't open this jar, and her husband says, there's a lady on the internet who can't open stuff.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's my mom. I can't open it .blogspot.com if you're interested. It's true.
Now, Steve, are you going to make sure that she is properly framed and lit, unlike half these reporters on TV that you like to highlight?
Seriously.
Oh, we were watching some show like 60 Minutes. Oh, they have the camera that's the webcam, and then they have this over-the-shoulder camera that's showing them watching, and then they have a camera over there looking at them, looking at their cameras. So there's 3 cameras going on. So to do a remote shoot, you can't, it's not just the webcam, you got to set up all these other cameras. It's a lot of work.
But it boggles my mind that so many of these regular commentators can't even reasonably frame themselves.
Oh, right.
I mean, I was watching MSNBC and they had a regular contributor on, and he was down like this. And there's all this space up above his head. Like,
what did they call that guy? Remember in the 70s, and all you saw was from the nose up.
Kerry, this is
I know
all
the
you.
answer.
So Kerry, it was
answer.
Kilroy.
I can't.
Kilroy was
Kilroy, Kerry.
Kilroy.
Oh, I do know that one.
See, you did know.
She's too young to know.
I was getting the link to your mom's blog, so way to get it.
Good job. Good job. I didn't know you weren't paying attention.
I was paying semi-attention.
This is a bit meta because now I'm going to share my screen of the presentation I gave today that has a video in it from a previous.
That was a great show.
After show, yeah, and this is the one. Let's see if this works. So this is Richard Owen in our Zoom after show, kind of epitomizing what we're discussing. You know what? I bet you that's not working now because I didn't.
Oh,
do
you
this
forgot to share the audio part.
Well, I didn't make the mistake in the presentation today, but now I did it. Hold on. There we go.
And of course, the best thing that's happened is, just as you've built this media empire here, burgeoning media empire, every other media business has kind of devolved into Wayne's World. And so they've kind of been coming right down in production standards. You've been coming right up in production standards. And at this point, you're on the par with the very best of them. So I think that it's the absolute perfect timing for this. So congratulations again. And
I think what he means to say is congratulations, Chris Brogan. That's what he means to say.
I'm behind you. I didn't know how to do Voice of God. You had that figured out, not me. You win.
They call it VOG on streaming, on StreamYard. Well, they don't, but they do now. So, well, guys, I'm shutting it down at 30 minutes. I'm staying diligent with this one because what we can do is twofold. This is the part where I read from a prepared statement that says the views expressed are not necessarily those of Comcast or Altria, or not Altria, Altice, whatever. It's to say thank you to Chris. It's to say thank you to people who are here for the first time, like, for example, Carol or Kerry. Welcome, and you can come back anytime. It is addictive, like drug, like a bad drug.
I will come back if I get top billing next time over Carol.
You know what? We can, for the right price,
Tomorrow.
I can make it. Yeah, Carol,
Right
don't come back
price.
now.
I'll send you a pack of ho-hos.
Yeah, done, sold. And, I mean, buy it now. There wasn't even an auction. And Chris, you are always welcome to come back anytime. And my standing joke is just look at the guest on the show. And if the guest seems interesting, join us because you're certainly not doing it for, for Farnham, Zlotnick, or Jaffe, or Garfield, or Griffin. You see, we're building a bit of a regular list.
Where's Joey today?
And thank you for
Joey,
not screwing up my name that time.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
what did at least I didn't call you shit, Griffin. I was saying
I've been
Chis
called way
and
worse than that.
Crisp. I don't know. I kept on mixing up Chip and Crisp. From now on, you'll be known as Crisp Griffin. Say
Thanks,
that 3 times fast.
I'm a sports official, so I've been called far, far worse by less qualified people.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out, Chris. It was just awesome, and for those of you that are still on, why? But my second point is Chris Brogan every day at 10, and you get to see him turn the tables and interview his guests.
Those in the back, Chip.
Hang on, hold on, Chris. Wait 1 second.
Oh,
there you go.
Those look like my books. Oh my gosh, this is weird.
There it is.
Garfield of Steve Garfield.
Steve Garfield
has
as
it
well.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh shit. I mean,
is this my "Oh Captain, my Captain" moment?
I have some too.
This is it. This is the pinnacle, Chris.
I can't even spotlight quick enough.
I got nothing. I could show up a Batman or something. I could show you stickers from conferences that don't exist anymore. That's all I got. Oh.
Tune in tomorrow when we finally will hear Chris Brogan reveal the 3 things about him that you didn't know. We'll leave it at that. You're gonna have to come back.
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, that's right.
This could be a really long-standing thing. This could be like when Jimmy Kimmel said for I don't remember how many years that Matt Damon couldn't come on the show.
Exactly. Well, I will be watching at 10 o'clock tomorrow to see if you reveal one of those 3 or more.
And then come to the after show tomorrow and spill the other 2.
The other 2.
No, he'll come to the after show and not give it away.
for another whole show. I like it.
All right, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. And thanks again, Chris, for all your time today.